Hey guys, it's me again. So, as everyone already knows, I'm a grown man-child. If you are new here and know nothing about me, well, I am 20 years old, and whenever I go to any type of store and see a figurine, I start shaking uncontrollably with excitement because I can own that figurine, put it on a shelf in my room and let it collect dust, but convince myself that one day it will be a very valuable investment that will shoot up in price. But the thing is, even if it does shoot up in price, that doesn't even matter, because I wasn't planning on selling it in the first place, because it looks cool, and I like it. It's cool. It all started in elementary school with the basics. Pokemon cards, Bakugan, Beyblades, and then once I got to middle school, I started collecting shoes, video games, and the souls of my enemies. Collecting things has been ingrained in me for as long as I can remember, and I owe a large part of my love for buying and keeping random useless items to my childhood safe place, Toys R Us. Most of you should know what Toys R Us is, since YouTube claims that my audience consists of people from the ages of 18 to 24 years old, and a majority of people in that age range have had some kind of experience with Toys R Us. But if somehow you are lying to YouTube about your age, I hate to break it to you, but you're going to jail. Tell your parents that you're a little felon, huh? You're a little thug. However, if you are a child and have no clue what I am talking about right now, Toys R Us was a chain of toy stores that took over the world for almost 60 years. Children from multiple generations have gone to this store, and it provided happiness to millions around the world. But sadly, this chain of stores is no longer with us. Okay, well, actually, it kind of still is with us, but I'll talk about that more later. Toys R Us has had such a major impact on my life, and I constantly find myself thinking about the memories I made going to this store. So, in today's video, I would like to take a look back at Toys R Us. Before we go down this path of nostalgia and a yearning to go back to my childhood, let's first talk about the very interesting history of Toys R Us. The story of how Toys R Us came to be is very interesting, since it wasn't always a toy store. It all began during the prehistoric times of 1948, when a man named Charles P. Lazarus started a store called Children's Bargain Town in Washington, D.C. This was a pretty simple baby furniture store. Lazarus had created it in order to take advantage of the post-World War II baby boom that was occurring in the United States, and his idea turned out to be really smart, since his business became fairly successful. However, after almost a decade of only selling baby furniture, Lazarus decided in 1957 that he wanted to expand a little bit. So he decided to open up his very first toy store in Rockville, Maryland. The toy store was an immediate success, and Lazarus decided to go all in with the branding and rename all his prior store locations to Toys R Us. Throughout the late 50s and most of the 60s, Toys R Us was able to make a proper name for itself, especially once advertising campaigns began with Geoffrey the Giraffe. Things looked amazing for the company, and in 1966, Toys R Us would be acquired by Interstate Department Stores, which was an American-based holding company that mainly controlled retailers. At first, being acquired came with a lot of benefits, since Toys R Us was aggressively attempting to expand across the country. But sadly, the holding company that took over Toys R Us was a bit over their heads and ran into bankruptcy issues in the late 70s. However, things were fixed when Mr. Lazarus swooped in and decided to take over the holding company that took over his company. That move was so Sigma Alpha Sigma edging mewing of Mr. Lazarus to do, and under his control, he changed the name of the company to the Toys R Us Corporation. And from that point onwards, there was no looking back. A majority of people from the ages 0 to 18 during the late 20th and early 21st century have been impacted by Toys R Us in some capacity. For example, your boy right here has done a lot of things in a Toys R Us. Okay, that makes it sound like I did something weird in a Toys R Us. I'd like to preface right now, I just shopped. I only shopped in the Toys R Us. I didn't do anything like a crime, or I'm a good person. If I'm being honest, I genuinely can't even remember the first time I ever went to a Toys R Us store, since I've been going to this place before I could